All right, Mixed Masta be here live from the MMB Radio Studios for the MMB Radio Podcast. Where no topic is too big or too small, we talk about them all. And on the phone lines, I want to welcome in. She is a professional wrestler or sports entertainer. We'll find out what she prefers here. You've seen her on episodes of Impact Wrestling, TNA. Miss Amber Nova, how are you?
Hey, I'm very good. Thank you for that introduction. Very nice.
Not a problem. So, I mean, what do you prefer, a pro wrestler or a sports entertainer, or like, where do you stand on that?
I prefer pro wrestler to be more specific than just sports entertainment, because that can be, I think, pretty diverse of meaning other things. So I just prefer to go pro wrestler. But I am also a model. I just got back this weekend from IBMS, International Bikini Model Search. I just did a bikini shoot camp all weekend with the producers Art Patrick and Alina McKinney, and it's been wonderful. I just did some great shots with some incredible photographers, Scott Thomas, to name just one, just to keep it brief. But so I also have been doing some modeling as well, and I just got back.
So I guess a lot of people who are probably familiar with you, and a lot of people who aren't familiar with your work, me being one of them, who, if I've seen a handful of your matches, and I've seen you on, like I said, an episode of Impact where you're wrestling Sienna.
Yes.
So for all of those out there who are wondering like a little bit about yourself, how did you? Originally, I guess, where are you originally from?
Originally, so I was born in Jersey, Parsippany. Parents born and raised in Jersey their whole life, but I grew up in South Carolina, Beaufort County, Hilton Head Island area. And then I moved here May of 2015, so 2 years ago, to pursue professional wrestling. But I've always watched it. I've always wanted to do it, and finally just like came down here all alone. Didn't know anybody. Didn't have friends or family here. Just by myself, and it's been very much worth it. It's been a journey, and I'm enjoying the ride.
Now, when you broke the news to your family and your parents, you're like, I want to be a pro wrestler. What was their reaction?
So my dad smiled, and he gave that like awesome smile smirk, like that's cool, because me and him have always been the ones just sitting on the couch Monday Night Raw since I was a kid watching it. And my mom was like, not so much, but like at first, because she's just worried about me and like scared for me, but she's very proud of me. She encouraged me. She pushed me to go when I was maybe doubting it, and she's like, no, do it. You'll do it. So very supportive from all my family.
Now, did you always grow up an athlete? Did you play sports as a child, as a school?
Not so much. I did volleyball. I did county cheerleading. I made varsity cheerleading my freshman year. My first tryout, I made varsity freshman, but I didn't stick with it. It just wasn't my thing. I did well at it. It just I didn't care for it so much, and I lost interest. So most athletic sports that I like to do are like water sports, paddle boarding, things like that.
So when you say you grew up, you were watching wrestling with your dad, and who were some of the people that you like influenced you, like that were just like idolized and wanted to be like? Was it a lot of the female wrestlers, or was it a lot of guy wrestlers, or?
Oh, so if we're gonna go with guy wrestlers first, Goldberg and Sting. Those were my dudes, and Booker T, but absolutely like Chyna, Medusa, Trish, Lita, AJ, a lot of the younger girls my own age, Victoria. So they're all just incredible. They've all had a big influence on my style and what I like.
Now, who did you get trained by? Did you go to a dojo, or did somebody train you to get into pro wrestling?
So I actually came down here 2 years ago, and I joined the Team Vision Dojo. I believe in wrestling. Trained by Chase and Rance, along with many other like assistants that'll come in there and help. Aaron Epic. They've had tons of people like Saraya Knight, Scott Hall, Larry Zabisco. You'll have like a bunch of assistant trainers that'll come in there, do seminars. Marty Jannetty. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people. Hector Guerrero. Lots of opportunities and seminars I've been able to attend.
Now, when you got into pro wrestling, what was something that you thought it was going to be like, and then when you got into it, you're like, okay, this was not what I expected?
So yeah, there were certain things that I was like, huh, okay. No, but like, no, it's been totally badass. And, I mean, a lot of it was kind of what I thought it would be. So it's been great. And I've been blessed that I'm physically capable of doing this. I'm having a great time. I'm pursuing my dreams, and it's the best.
Now, I mean, looking through pictures on your Twitter and Instagram and everything, obviously you are in great shape. How does one maintain such a physique and be traveling and doing modeling and like where do you find time to work out?
Um, Beer and pasta.
Beer and pasta.
Like you would never think that. Carbs.
I was gonna say the carb diet.
So actually, my mom had 5 kids. She had 4 girls and a boy, and she even had twins at the end. And she weighed about 112 pounds, something like that, average, mostly her whole life. She's now 47 and finally has put on more weight. My sisters are like 110 pounds. I'm 100 pounds. So I probably am one of the smallest female wrestlers out there. But I'm healthy, and I come from a small family. I have fast metabolism. I've always been very healthy. I don't eat red meat. I just eat like turkey, chicken. I don't really like fish, but sometimes I'll eat it. I just naturally love fruits and vegetables most likely than anything. But I like my beer and I like my spaghetti. I like my carbs. I'm Italian, and I was raised on carbs and spaghetti 5 nights a week. And I'm just blessed. But I do work out, like my abs. I worked with a fireman for 2 years when I was an EMT, and he taught me this incredible abdominal workout where I would do 200-300 crunches a day. Like you elevate your legs off the ground about 6 inches and keep your core tight and don't let your feet touch the ground, but bring like one leg at a time to your like your knee to your chest and back and forth. And like I would definitely work out a lot. Like I didn't just sit around.
And how many of these do you do a day?
200 to 300.
200
but in
to
a
300.
sitting. So like I would do like 50, take like a minute breather, do another 50, take
That's
a little
all you
breather.
get? It's just a minute breather? Like I feel like
Well,
I would
it
need
depends.
like a half hour.
I would do them all in one sitting though. Like it would take me, I don't know how long it would take. 25 minutes maybe. Depends.
That's a world record for me. I would probably be passing out, like not being able to keep up.
So my push-ups are like that. My push-ups I need to work on some more. Those are a little harder for me.
So you gotta. That's your your trouble area, or
I would say like I can't do 300 push-ups, but I can do 300 crunches.
okay, awesome. So is it harder to be a female in pro wrestling? I mean, we've transcended so much from, back in the day where, female wrestling, and it's just like this whole, divas movement, although they don't use the word diva anymore, that's the female wrestling movement. Have you found it to be any kind of difficulty, or has it been easier, or just kind of about the same?
I don't know. I want to say that it's different with certain things, but it's almost easier to try and get into it now because women have so much more opportunity. They have more of a chance to be superstars and wrestlers instead of just divas. But then again, I want to say it's almost harder because now they're a lot more strict on who they want to hire and what's your resume look like. Are you an MMA fighter? Are you a black belt? Do you have this? Do you have that? Have you been to Japan several times? Like maybe it's harder now to get in there, and you have to prove yourself even more than you used to have to prove yourself to get in. So it's wonderful, the movement, like everything that's happening. I mean, with the Mae Young Classic coming up, all kinds of things. But it might be just that much harder now to prove yourself.
Now, you mentioned the Mae Young Classic, and a lot of names have been released for that. You've done a lot of the indies shows. And I've seen you post things. You've done a lot of different shows. But if you had to pick somebody that you could have your dream match with, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Dream match. That's a tough one, like, to just name one person. I don't know.
It could be more than one person. It could be a triple threat, fatal four-way.
All right, there we go. All right. I don't know.
I mean, you're the booker here, so you're the agent. You're putting out this match. So you tell me, what's the stipulation? Who's it against? Is it for some type of title? Like, you tell me.
I don't know. I guess, like I mentioned before, Lita, Trish, Victoria, China, all of them. But AJ Lee, Paige, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, these girls are incredible. They have a great resume. They worked for a long time before they made it where they are. And even the girls in the indies like Evilise, there's a lot of really good women out there in Shine and in Shimmer. I'm thankful and I'm grateful to work with anyone that I can learn from that's, women empowering women.
Now, where do you want to see yourself, like, in the next, maybe, like, 5 years? Like, do you have any type of, like, set goals that you want to try to accomplish in a certain time?
Absolutely. WWE, that's the whole reason, like, I came, because I knew the Performance Center was here in Orlando. I wanted to be close for extra spots, everything. I knew that the heart of wrestling would be here in Florida, in Orlando, and it's definitely benefited me, committing my life to coming here.
Now, what is one thing that you think you need to improve on, that you need to work on?
I mean, you can always improve on everything, like cardio, just everything can always be better and better and better. Like, I'll watch my matches back with my trainer, with other students, and we'll watch our matches back and be like, man, I could have done that better. If I did this instead of that first, there's always something that's like, can be improved.
Now, what do you think is your strong suit right now? Do you think that, you're good at promos, you're good at, mic skills? Like, what do you say, people will say, when we see an Amber Nova match, this is what we always remember from her matches?
Man, that big wrench of mine.
I was going to get into that. You have on your bio there, the daughter of a mechanic. This is true. Your father is a mechanic?
Yes.
All right. And, like, how handy are you with a wrench and, like, auto tools? And
I do change my own oil. I work on my car, little things I can do all by myself. Actually, I was really proud of myself. My wrestling school, we did a ring rental. We did a show, and the wrestling ring truck broke down. And it took me a little while to figure it out, like to diagnose what the issue was. But I fixed my first diesel truck, and this was like end of April. It was like WrestleMania week when all the shows were going on in Orlando. So I was actually really happy.
So you were like a mechanic on call, just ready to
yeah,
step up.
Sweet. Yeah. So yeah, my dad's a mechanic, classic car family. We got some 62 Novas. My mom and my dad have, they're each Chevy 2 Nova. My brother has a 76 Malibu. Mine is a 73 Nova. Hence why I'm Amber Nova. My wrench I use in the ring, it's like my real life too. It's not just BS. So.
And I'm not even going to ask if I can drive it, because we already know the answer to that.
Yep.
According to Twitter, no, you cannot drive it.
Yep, and driver picks the music and shotgun shuts his cake hole. That's actually like in my car. It's written in there, like I have a little thing hanging.
Nice. Now, being like I said, in tune to cars and stuff like that, do you get people that try to test you, like like try to say, oh, it's just a gimmick, she doesn't know nothing about cars, and then how do you shut them down?
I don't think anyone has been that ballsy to approach me in that kind of way.
Nice.
I don't know, but I've had people be like, oh, is that your boyfriend's car? And I'm like, are you just go away. Like, excuse me? Am I driving it? Yeah, it's my car. Like, that's something that just irritates me the most. People question, like, if it's even mine. And I'm like, yeah, it's mine.
Now, what is your first known memory of pro wrestling? Like, going to, like, your first ever show. Like, what's the first memory in your mind that you can think of?
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. I don't know. So I saw it was in Savannah, Georgia, Civic Center, I believe, and it was with me, my younger twin sisters, and their two friends, my dad and my dad's friend, their dad. So there's a group of us. You got 5 little girls all standing on some chairs towards the front, and we all have posters. And we saw Batista, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and like one of our posters I had Batista on, and then the other one was like 691. One of the girls, like, we wrote it wrong, I had to correct it, 619. So silly. And then I remember specifically, like, Batista looked at all 5 of us little girls, and he, like, starts shaking his pectoral muscles at us. We were, like, screaming and stupid. So, yeah, I was like, I might have been 10, and 15 years ago? I don't know. It was a little while ago.
Well,
that's something.
It's better than my first memory. I was at a Wizard World event in Philadelphia, and I ran into the great Bill Apter, and he was just like talking to me. We're talking wrestling, and he's like, "What is your first known memory of wrestling?" And I'm like, "I can remember as a child," and it sounded so lame after I thought about it, and I knew it was lame when he looked at me afterwards. I was like, I remember going to the old Philadelphia Spectrum, which is now like torn down, but there were so many great matches at the Philadelphia Spectrum. And I said, I can remember like Demolition fighting somebody. It was on a Sunday, like afternoon house show. It was like the Philadelphia Eagles were playing across the street. And like my mom and my aunt, which ironically were like both Eagles fans, went to the Eagles game. And me, my dad, and my uncle went over to the wrestling. And I said, I saw Demolition wrestle. And he's like, look at me, he's like, okay. And he's like waiting for me to tell him more. And he's like, and, like, who did they wrestle? And like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't remember. I just remember it was Demolition. So that was kind of like my lame first experience of, memory of wrestling, just seeing these guys come out with like these dominatrix looking outfits of like leather and zippers. And you're like, okay. That kind of just like, it scares you, to a point when you're like 8 years old and you see these guys with like leather and spikes and everything. You're like, okay, yeah, it's kind of traumatizing. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you had at least you got to see Batista, flex his pecs at you, and I didn't get to witness something as great as that. So obviously your main goal is WWE. But currently, right now, you're, like I said, you were on an episode of Impact Wrestling. Like I said, formerly TNA, now Global Force Wrestling, and I don't know, in 2 weeks it could be something else. I'm just so confused of what it's called anymore. But kind of take us through that experience, being able to be on, like a televised match.
I was my second time actually there. My first match was against Allie, which I think I deserve a rematch, and I think I should go back. But she got me, and we'll just see what happens if I get another rematch. But Sienna, it was a good fight, and we'll just have to see when it airs what happens. But it was a great experience. Everyone was very pleasant, and it was badass. Not used to so many corners though, I'm used to like a 4-sided ring, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is there
There's
like
a few extra corners in here?
now? Is there a learning curve to that? Like when you go into a ring with so many different sides, is it a little more confusing to hit your spots, or is it kind of like, all right,
just use it to your advantage, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, have you traveled like out of country to do any wrestling?
No, I've not been out of the country. I am going to Arizona at the end of the month for Elite Wrestling Entertainment, and I'll be wrestling Hudson Envy, and that is July 30th in Arizona. So I know I got some flyers posted, and I'll be promoting that a little bit more as well.
Now, how often are you wrestling? Is it like every weekend? Like every couple weekends? Like
as much as I can, but I have all these other things going on as well. Modeling, other things to promote myself, other things to get into. So I do it as much as I can.
Now, a lot of young girls out there, idolize wrestlers, especially the ones they see on WWE. If you could give any kind of motivation or inspiration to young girls that might want to be a pro wrestler or want to do it, what would something that you would like to share with them knowledge-wise?
So I actually cut a WWE Tough Enough promo, and they aired my audition promo video on pay-per-views and on Monday Night Raw for a good few months, all summer of 2015. Obviously, I didn't make the cut, but I talked about my real life, how, I would look at these girls and be like, man, I want to be like that. But I was like, that doesn't work out for people like me. I don't have connections. I'm not involved with a celebrity. I'm not someone's daughter that's been in wrestling. Like, I didn't think it would happen for people like me. And I have to say I was completely wrong for thinking that way. It was not the right mindset to have. And I was thinking like, oh, this won't work out. This won't happen for people like me. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm riding down there. I'm doing this. And it's worked out so much. And always just have faith in yourself. Follow your instincts, your heart, and don't think little of yourself that you can't do something when turns out a lot of people in life do, and they're the ones that usually make it because they tried. And even just trying, like, you can say I accomplished that one day, that I took that journey, I enjoyed the ride. And the best part about it is just enjoying the journey, seeing if it'll work out or not even knowing, but yeah, I think every little girl out there that has a dream, little boy, anyone. I mean, if you're in your 30s and you have a dream and you haven't done it, pursue it, do it. A lot of people like Oprah, a lot of actors out there, they didn't even make it big till they were older. Like, we're talking 40s, 50s. So it's never too late.
Now, how much pro wrestling do you watch, like, on a daily basis? Do you stay up to date with all the different promotions and the storylines, or, do you study any of that kind of video?
Oh, I try to as much as I can. I also like to just YouTube a lot of lucha indie stuff, pick up on different styles and moves that I can attempt. Yeah, I try and do my research and keep up with it as much as I can. Because, if it's what I'm committing myself to, the business I want to be a part of, then I should know what's going on in that business.
Now, we fielded a couple questions from people on Twitter, because we've been talking about and mentioning they were going to be on the podcast, and there was people out there that had some questions for you. So you ready to answer a couple fan questions?
Absolutely.
All right. So first question we got here, fan wants to know, who do you feel is the biggest name in pro wrestling history?
Wow.
Like, who in your mind is the biggest draw of all time?
Wow.
I mean, mind you, there's no right or wrong answers to these questions.
I don't know. You got guys like Eddie Guerrero, and like I said, I had an opportunity to work with Hector Guerrero, and there's so many guys, you mention their name and people know who they are. Jericho, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. Those guys made history. They paved the way to help people. Of course, Larry Zbyszko. So it's quite a few people. But to name a few, I think those few.
All right. Next question is, what is your finishing move?
So I do a head scissor, like tilt-a-whirl DDT. I also do a wheelbarrow stunner, a wheelbarrow DDT. I do a couple of cool things, and you can watch them on my YouTube video. If you just search Amber Nova, I got a lot of little clips and stuff. So I do a few things. And then, my finishing move always, if I'm having a little hard time, I just kind of throw a wrench into the plans, and I get the win.
Now, we've already kind of asked this question about what your dream match would be, but what is your favorite match of all time? Like, watching.
Oh wow.
I know it's a tough one. There's so many great matches, and you've mentioned so many great icons of pro wrestling. But is there a match that you kind of go to and you say, you know what, that's a match that always stands out in my mind as one of my favorites?
I don't know. One of those talks that just never goes away is Larry versus Bruno. I think it was like Madison Square Garden, and there's been so many matches. I think I like Scott Hall. I think I like I don't know. There's just so many. I'm drawing a blank. Those are, to name a few. Like, just thinking, yeah. Those
Yeah,
guys.
Zabisco, I used to love watching a lot of his old stuff when he would do like, what did he call it, Larry World, or like what was it? It was like his like theme park that he had, like this imaginary theme park that, he was just one of the best on the mic.
Have you heard him rap? He had a cute little
No,
rap song. You should look that up. It's like a cute little
really?
like rap video. Like it's a video of him like, I don't know, rapping. It's kind of cute.
Oh, I gotta check that out. I remember back in the
Yeah,
day.
you should look it up. I don't know what it's called. It was part of like a promo deal that a bunch of other wrestlers I think were involved maybe.
Isn't it amazing when whatever's like popular at that time, like everybody does it, and then like fast forward 20 years later, and you're like, why were we doing that?
Yeah.
I see all these weird stuff they do on WWE and all these different things, and you're like, all right, this is like funny right now, but like in 20 years from now, people are gonna go, why were they doing that?
Maybe,
But,
yeah.
So what's a typical day for you like training, working out, like modeling, wrestling, like doing crunches, eating pasta, drinking beer, like.
So I like to attend my hot yoga classes on Sundays, which I didn't do today. I love hot yoga. Oh my God. I've been to regular yoga classes at like LA Fitness, but it's not the same. I go to Orlando Power Yoga, and the hot yoga classes they're incredible because you're sweating out all those like toxins in your body, and your muscles feel even more loose and relaxed because you're so heated, and heat, relaxes muscles, and it's amazing. So I love hot yoga, but I also have been a bartender. I've been bartending to get by, paying my bills as well, modeling. I'm picking up modeling a lot more now, so that hopefully can become something I make my bills with more than that. Just wrestling, doing a lot of different things. I hit the gym when I can. I usually train 3 to 4 days a week. Like usually tonight I would be at training right now. But I'm not training because I just got back from the modeling bikini shoot camp that I was doing. And it's not just bikinis, it's clothing. You model lots of things. So right now my schedule's just crazy busy. I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. It's great though. I'm really enjoying it.
Now, what if the modeling stuff started to come up and it just took off? Are you always going to stay true to wrestling, or?
Oh, of course.
So you'll never give that up?
That's not even a question. Like, modeling would be amazing, and I would dedicate myself to that as much as I could, because that's always been, like, something I've been so interested with, and it's going well. But pro wrestling is why I moved here, and it's not something I'm just going to, like, toss out the window. It's incredible. I can't imagine, like, not doing suplexes ever again, not doing, like a vertical suplex, doing, like, DDTs, like the moves. Like I can't imagine like just stopping that. Just never. I would miss it. I would miss it way too much. I'd be like, you know what? That guy, he deserves a chop. I would miss it.
Now, when you're doing wrestling and you moved down to Orlando and you talked about being closer to the Performance Center, did you, other than doing the Tough Enough, have you reached out to WWE about possibly getting signed, or like how does somebody gather WWE's attention to want to get into the business?
I mean, there's a recruit page. You can email them. Just keep doing what you're doing and work hard. I mean, it's not one of those things you just call up Stephanie McMahon and be like, hey.
Are you hiring?
Yeah, it don't work that way.
Can I get a paper application?
Oh, it's ridiculous. And I've heard of so many people that actually like think of it that way. It's like, crazy.
Like I seen you had an application available on Monster, Indeed, so I thought I would just apply.
Hey, just checking in,
Yeah. Just to see if you got my application,
Yeah.
So people want to know, where can they find you at online? Everybody has a social media presence. Where can people kind of follow your journey through pro wrestling?
Yes. So you can go to Amber Nova, Facebook, Amber Nova, pretty much Instagram, Twitter. You should be able to find me like that. If not, it's Nova_girl1973 on Twitter. Instagram, it's NovaGirl73. and YouTube, Amber Nova. You can watch matches, clips of me. You can watch that Tough Enough video I made in the beginning of my journey.
Definitely got to check that out. And I mentioned we spoke a little off air, and I was saying, you know, like we got to get you like merch, and you said you were working on getting merch, right?
Oh yeah, I just had an amazing graphic made. I have a few more coming, and T-shirts should be on the way. But I do have photos. I have plenty of photos that I sign.
And people can get them just by contacting you, or
Yeah, if for bookings and for photos, if people want me to mail those out and sign them, it's just ambernova73@gmail.com.
Awesome, very awesome. Well, Amber, anything you want the fans to know before you leave? Anybody out there who's thrown some fighting words your way? You know, upcoming matches. Anything you want anybody to make aware of that you're coming for them?
Oh, I am the baddest chick there is. And if they don't think so, I'll make it happen. I'll just throw a wrench right into their plans. I'll show them why I am upcoming and why I'm going to be one of the best.
There you have it. So, Amber Nova, we appreciate you coming on, talking to us a little bit, and I'm interested to see more of these videos. We'll check out YouTube channel, and hopefully we catch you, wrestling up in the Northeast area and, upcoming indie shows. Make sure you follow her on Twitter and Instagram to find out when and where she's going to be performing. And it's just a cool honor to have you on the podcast just to talk to you a little bit.
Hell yeah. Keep on rocking in the free world.
Awesome. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you. Hey guys, this is Amber Nova, and if you want to run away, I can give you a ride. I'm a one-way ticket to your darker side, the Nova Girl. You're on MMB Radio.